What up, fam? Yeah, so I was doing a bunch of year-end planning last week and met with the team for multiple businesses, brought in our HR director, my boy Scott Hannes, great dude. If you guys, by the way, need, hang on, phone calls coming in. If you guys need any sort of like HR, business consulting, planning, he's a great resource. Definitely somebody that you want in your network. But I was doing a bunch of planning, year-end goal setting, meeting with the team, breaking down what worked, what didn't work, what do we like doing, what do we not like doing, what are the key investments or hires and those kinds of things that we're gonna have to be making in the new year in order to hit the numbers and the goals and the revenue lines that we want to hit in the new year. And so got me thinking and kind of reflecting what's worked in the past. And I want to share a quick story with you because there's one thing that has been the absolute differentiator for me in business. And I kind of go back to 2012, 13, I started growing the rental portfolio. By 2015, I built up a business or a rental portfolio of 140 doors. And it was just me. I had a maintenance guy, maybe one or two maintenance guys, and then like a part-time property manager helping me out with growing the business. You know, I see all these big businesses growing, and I see these big teams out there, and I saw these huge portfolios, and I couldn't figure it out. I was like alone on an island trying to build the business, but there wasn't enough time in a day to scale the business. There wasn't enough time in the day. I couldn't just possibly keep on doing more of what I was already doing, right? I would have just burned out, right? I was already trying to make ends meet, and guess what? Ends don't meet, right? Because they're fucking ends, right? And so just trying to, I'm spinning my wheels. It was so painful looking at all the stuff and being stressed out all the time. And I started looking around for like, what other resources are out there? Like, there's some way that somebody's learning on how to build a big business. And so I looked at like business coaches. I looked at different kinds of things like that in the formal realm, but it didn't really resonate with me. And then I was wholesaling a portfolio of about 40 houses and trying to assign a contract on 40 houses, make a couple of bucks on this thing in the summer of 2014, and actually the fall of 2014. And a guy named Mark called me up and inquired on it and started talking to me about the portfolio. And we couldn't come to terms. We couldn't figure out, you know, a way that I was too stubborn on coming down on price. He was too stubborn, not willing to, too cheap, right, in order to come up on price. And so we couldn't make a deal happen. But he started asking me questions. And he's like, hang on, you know, he started asking me questions about my business. And he goes, hang on, I got to take a shot. And I was like, dude, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing taking shots? He's like, no, I'm on the golf course. And I'm traveling and in all these different places. He was in Hawaii and he was in like Bora Bora. And he was gone for 6 weeks on vacation. Meanwhile, he's flipping 40 to 50 houses a month. And I'm like, dude, and he showed genuine interest in me and my business and wanting to actually help. And I'm like, dude, how are you doing this? And he goes, listen, man, like your issue is you're not around the right people. He goes, I'll tell you what, I'm hosting an event. Why don't you come out? It's $5,000 for 2 days. And blah, 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 it's this fall. And I was like, dude, $5,000 for a 2-day event. Like, listen, man, I got some other stuff going on, but realistically, like, I just can't afford it. And he said something to me that hit me like, slapped me up the side of the face, right? And he goes, you can't afford not to, right? Because you're burning the candle at both ends. You're going to just burn out, and you're not going to be able to keep business up and above water if you keep on running the way that you're running it right now. And so that kind of sat with me. I didn't go out to that event, and several months passed, and that deal, the wholesale deal, ended up morphing, and I never met this guy before, and ended up actually taking a deal down with him on a creative finance structure, brought him in as a partner, and we took it down jointly. And this guy wired like $10,000 for earnest money back in December 2014, before I had ever met him. Didn't have anything in writing or anything along those lines. And I remember thinking like, dude, this guy must have FU money or just be like an absolute idiot from a business perspective. And so he wires the money, we end up joint venturing, and not part of it, but like, he's like, hey dude, by the way, I'd love to meet you in person. I want to invite you out to this, again, this 2-day event. And you know, let you come out and get a little bit more business insight and intel, and kind of meet the network and meet the people and see who's been doing this stuff before, and learn from others on how to scale your business. And I didn't feel obligated, but I kind of felt obligated, because this guy wires $10,000 without knowing anything about me on a deal, and he's only asking me for $5,000 in order to come out to this 2-day event. And so it was really, really hard for me to like agree to go to this thing. And I remember New Year's Eve came around, and I wanted to write it off and it be a deduction, right, for the previous year, and also just make the commitment to making the next year the best year of my life up to that time. And so I remember getting absolutely hammered drunk. I drank drink after drink after drink on New Year's Eve, and around 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve, I ended up PayPaling him $5,000 in order to then attend a mastermind event. And I didn't even know what a mastermind event was. But in February, the first week in February of 2015, I went out to my first mastermind event. And at that event, I sat in a room of about 15 entrepreneurs, and we went around the circle, and everybody got some one-on-one time for 20, 30 minutes, and talked about their biggest problem, their biggest hurdle, whatever that they were facing in their business or in their life at that time. And I remember going around and realizing, like, I'm not alone on an island. I'm not solo in my efforts of growing this business, because every other entrepreneur feels the exact same way. How do you have conversations, high-level conversations with people who don't understand what it's like to run a business, or who don't have the obligations or the responsibilities that we as business owners have, who have the financial obligations and responsibilities and stresses, right, like that we have in our life. And when I sat in that room and I had those conversations, it was like, oh my gosh, finally there's a community. Finally, there's a group of people who get it. There's a group of people who understand what I'm going through, what it's like hiring, what it's like firing, what it's like scaling, what it's like buying assets, selling assets, raising private money, what it's like to operate, how to put efficiencies in place. I didn't even know what standard operating procedures would be. I didn't even know what KPIs were. I didn't know what metrics were at that time. And it came to a point where by the time it got to me, I had more solutions than what my even number one problem was at that time. And it was like a light bulb went off. And I took that, the key takeaway from that first event, and in the next 3 weeks I implemented it. And that was March 1st that I implemented it of 2015. And I tripled my income in the next 10 months of that year. And I remember leaving that mastermind, and they said, hey, listen, we have an annual group. It's $30,000 a year. And by the way, this other expense, which was like a key hire that I needed to make, was going to cost me like $36,000 or whatever $1,000 a year as well. And so I'd only made like not only, but I made for the first time ever 6 figures the previous year. It was about $130,000. And going out to this event, they took 30 grand and 35 grand, essentially $70,000 or $65,000. Half of what I made the previous year was going out the door for other expenses and overhead that I was going to take on. And it was a hard pill to swallow, but the reality is these guys had the life that I wanted to live, and they had the business that I wanted to own. And it was a leap of faith, and realizing that I didn't have to be alone. I could join this community of entrepreneurs who were resources for me, who could help problem solve with me, who could, as I hit a bottleneck, they'd help me break through it, right? They'd make introductions for me. There were connections and resources and all these other things that I didn't know had even existed, and I could expedite those relationships because of an introduction being made, as opposed to me having to go and cultivate the relationship on my own. So it was truly a way to expedite timeframes and shorten and abbreviate the time frame in order to fast track success. I raised my first private money, my first substantial private money from that group. Joint ventured on dozens and dozens, hundreds of properties with people in that group, and made hundreds of thousands of dollars from that. And since then, millions of dollars. And so that one variable of joining a community was the differentiator. It was the difference maker for everything. And every time I plugged into another event, I had another quantum leap forward, and it was the catalyst to hockey stick growth in my business. Before, I just kind of plateau and grow a little bit, and plateau and grow a little bit. And after that, I had this unbelievable growth where it went straight vertical. And I attribute it to that. That was the differentiator. That was the turning point in my entire business. So I know we're at the end of the year. I know you're planning. I know you're goal setting. I know you're looking forward to 2024 and hoping it's going to be the best year yet. If you're not part of a mastermind, you should be part of a mastermind. There's a lot of amazing ones out there in all different industries. You got to be joining some sort of group that's going to help you level up and be a community for you of growth, of making sure that not only you're a better business person, but a better person, right? Increasing the value in your relationships, increasing your bank account, obviously, but increasing your spirituality, your health and fitness, increasing your, making you a better parent, making you a better friend, making you a better spouse, making you a better individual, contributor to humanity, right? Like getting involved in a group like that is the key. And if you're not in one, find one, right? Google search masterminds, find people in social media, ping them. And like we have a mastermind, it's called Legacy Family Mastermind. We get together 3 times a year in amazing, amazing cities all around the country. We bring out 150, 200 people, and we have the most fun at our summits. We also get together in smaller, more intimate settings 3 times a year. By the way, you can plug in as much or as little as you want, but where we bring out 30, 40 people, and we spend some one-on-one time going around the room, kind of like that first mastermind that I ever went to, and helping troubleshoot and bring resources to people. And then it's kind of meant to be a board of directors for your business, right? It's hard to hire somebody at a 6-figure or multiple 6-figure salary to be an executive on your team. And so what we do is I have my team on a daily group boardroom call to essentially be a board of advisors for you and your business. And it's part of the mastermind membership. It's just included where they're a resource for you on a daily basis whenever you need in between the summits and everything else. So if Legacy Family is a good fit for you, check out legacyfamilymastermind.com. We're running a promotion up for the New Year's because it's like, that's when I made the big decision in order to jump into and leap into a mastermind, and it changed everything for me. So if you want, you can schedule a call with my Chief Marketing Officer and Director of Acquisitions, Nick Burton. He'll hop on, answer any sort of questions that you might have. And obviously, I'm here for you for any questions you might have via Messenger, on Instagram, on Facebook, or whatever. So do it for yourself. Make 2024 your best year yet. And the best way to do so is by surrounding yourself with a group of rock stars who are going in the same direction as you, right? The train is moving, jump on, link arms, and build a business with awesome people that you know are moving in the same direction. So community is where it's at. It is the biggest differentiator for taking you to where you want to go and making 2024 your best year yet. So appreciate you, love you, have a happy holidays if I don't talk with you, and I will see you in 2024.